Hi, everybody. Welcome into the KSR Football Podcast presented by Friends of Cole. I'm Nick Roush. He's Van Hiles. That's Adam Luckett. Drew Franklin will be joining us momentarily. It's a bit of an unusual edition of the KSR Football Podcast. Typically, we're here just talking about the game that just happened, but a lot of stuff's happened since that game on Saturday, Van. A lot of stuff.
Yeah, what happened? Sunday happened. I saw some good NFL games. You know what? You know what else I saw? I saw Diego really stay claim to a truthful, legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. What he did against Tennessee, man, was incredible. In Knoxville.
Yeah. I want him to win it just for the fun of it. I mean, the Heisman isn't a performance-based award. It's very much a who was this college football season about, and a lot of it's been about Pavia, especially if they are somehow able to sneak their way in. It might take a little work, but that'd be a lot of fun. I think people are locked in to hear us give some Diego Pavia takes here today.
Well, I've got a ticket. that says Diego Pavia is going to win the Heisman, and I'm ready to cash that thing. So maybe I'll finally win. I think I'm about 0 for 6 on Heisman wagers. So maybe I'll finally win one here. But I jumped on him. I think it was during the Kentucky game or right after the game. I was like, this guy, they're beating Tennessee next week. If they win this game, I think he's going to get it. I don't think they want to give it to these Big Ten quarterbacks.
No.
So I think he's got a chance to win it.
So I don't know if anything else happened. That's what I was glued into. So that, man.
We joke.
Nothing else happened, so I can be shocked about it.
We joke, we kid. We'll get to plenty on the Kentucky football coaching search because the Cats, they got shellacked so badly by Louisville, 41-0, that Mitch Barnhart and the folks over at Champions Blue LLC, it was time to pull the plug, start anew, and now the Cats are looking for a new coach after 13 seasons with Mark Stoops. We are going to go through it all. We'll go through the Stoops era some. We'll touch on what happened Saturday in that Louisville game, and then we'll also get into what's next. Hate to have you all hanging on bated breath. We're going to be here for an hour. And Luckett and I, we've already done about 2 hours of coaching search talk on the YouTube. So we got to make sure we touch them all, talk some actual ball, because that's what we're here to do. And we're here thanks to Friends of Cole, friendsofcolekentucky.org. Cole's resilient, reliable, it's affordable. It's been a part of our state's past, and it'll be a part of the future. So go ahead, visit friendsofcolekentucky.org. Proud presenting sponsors of the KSR Football Podcast. And Van, let's start with a game where I just can't get over the fact that a number 46 and a number 89 ran all over their ass. I mean, it's one thing when Lynn Bowden was doing it because he was wearing number 1, but 46 and 89, you can't get punked by a bunch of guys wearing 46 and 89 playing running back.
Hey, slow down. I wore 48 at the Bears. That's only 2 away from 46. Don't give me the 40s cannot ball. I wore 44 when I was in my first year of Pee Wee football. 40s can ball too. Nah, man. That was a crazy game. I would have never expected for us to not play better in the trenches than what we did. That was the most shocking thing to me. Is we did not control the line of scrimmage on either side of the ball. And that's shocking. And I will say this, once we lost David Gusta, it was pretty much ball game. They got whatever they wanted. I don't know what his injury was. I don't know why he didn't play anymore, but it was pretty telling.
Mm-hmm. It was telling. It sucked. It was an ass kicking that nobody saw coming. I think many folks could have said, maybe like when that first quarter was going on, you thought, okay, maybe they get into a slobber knocker and it'll be a low scoring affair. But the team that had shown no quit all year finally quit, and they quit. They quit hard. They quit. They quit really hard. It was ugly. It wasn't fun. On a cold day at Don't Call Me Papa John Stadium. Oh, hey, Drew.
Hey. What's up, guys? Sorry I'm late. Just walked in the house.
It's okay. We were just talking about the Louisville game. We felt like we needed to talk a little Louisville, right? Like, they did play a football game.
Well, yeah, Louisville played a football game. I wish our side had maybe made the trip. We all were a little too overconfident. I think my DraftKings account reflects that. I think, Nick, you might have been in the same boat.
Yeah.
There was no scenario that never even entered my brain that Kentucky would be the team to quit like that, to get skunked. I mean, God, that was just absolutely pathetic.
I would like to thank Diego Pavia and Vanderbilt Moneyline for making sure the account wasn't hit too hard.
Confession.
Yeah.
I took Louisville live at minus 21.5 and made not all of my money back, but about half of it. So, sometimes you got to chase a bad bet.
I do think as much as Luckett and I would spend our Wednesday nights talking about if Stoops going to get fired, we always said it had to be about the games. Like, the games have to matter. Mm-hmm. Well, we played the games, and they mattered enough for Mark Stoops to get fired because the team that was built not to quit, they had a chance to finish the season strong, and they let go of the rope, particularly on defense, which was, I think, part of the most startling parts of the end of the Mark Stoops era. Is the offense wasn't always there, but the last 2 years, man, the defense has not been up to snuff.
Yeah, I think that game, they looked like they were cold. Like Kentucky was the team running over to stand by the heaters, and looked like they just wanted no part of that game, really from start to finish. And it did start in the trenches. I thought just both sides. That was really the game. They just got whipped at the line of scrimmage, and then the offense was a disaster. I mean, a total disaster offensively. Just no idea how to kind of attack it. And like these kind of aggressive 4-2-5 defenses, I think they've played at South Carolina, Louisville, and Vandy, which are not I wouldn't say exotic defenses. That's like a structure you see a lot. Kentucky just looked like they had no idea what to do against it. And so that was highly concerning and highly alarming. And I wrote on the board, it would be a disaster if Kentucky lost to this Louisville team with how shorthanded they were.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a disaster the coach got fired.
It was bad.
It all, really.
Yeah. It was about as bad as it could possibly get. With that's the worst loss of the Stoops era, right? He got him fired, but even before he got fired, would that be the worst loss? Is that worse than Southern Miss, Van?
Oh, I don't. You know what? The game that immediately comes to mind is the Florida game in Lexington when we didn't cover the freaking uncovered wide receiver 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
that's the one, because that to me is that to me is an all system failure. That goes from the coaches on the sideline, the players on the field, and the coaches in the booth. Like, someone's got to see the guy uncovered and say, "Hey, call a timeout." That one, man, is that always come to mind as the worst loss, I think, in Stoops' era, especially against Florida, where we could have beat a team that historically we have never had success against.
Yeah, the ball in the whatever lead to Southern Miss was bad. They did that to Vandy too. They did the don't cover the receiver at Vandy to get bowl eligible. So
they lost to Western, but I kind of feel like Stoops had a Western roster at the time, so I don't. Yeah, you shouldn't lose to Western, but different circumstances back then. He was still building something at the time.
Yeah, this was a must-win too. You got to have it, and they just didn't have it. Luckett called it a circling the wagons game, and they just didn't have any more wagons to circle, which feels appropriate. It just, I mean, my God, I feel like I could have gone out there and played for Louisville on their offense. They had no players, and Kentucky still let them get almost 500 yards. It was bad, but it was so bad that it did give us something exciting this offseason. And, I think we can all say that the Mark Stoops era was fun, but it was very difficult to find the path moving forward, even if they had just lost close games in back-to-back weeks. Like, figuring this thing out was going to be a challenge. So we do get a fresh start. We do get a chance to turn the page, to change to something new, to something fresh. Man, 13 years is a long time in any one place, especially in the year 2025. I mean, the message gets stale. People just kind of get antsy and they want something new. And I think most are grateful for what Stoops did, but are very excited to experience change and have something new with the Kentucky football program moving forward.
Yeah, that's the sentiment that I hear. It's, to me, the staleness is based on guys outside of the building, because you hear them for 13 years. Players only hear them for 4 years, so it doesn't usually get stale for players, but it does get stale for fans, especially when things are not going well. Yeah, I guess in this day and age, unless you are Craig Skinner, staying here for that long probably is not a good recipe, because most guys, if you really want to think about it, I think Stoops knew that too. That's why he had 9.5 toes out the door 2 years ago, because I think he knew that, all right, I've reached the pinnacle of my tenure here, and I need to find a way out. And if you want to blame somebody, blame the Texas A&M boosters.
Yeah, you had your out then. John Summerall, he was ready to go from Troy to Kentucky, but things change. Things change quickly in this, which can happen in this coaching search. We are trying our best to monitor, to keep our head on a swivel of all the things happening. I get a little worried, Drew, whenever I have to, make a sandwich or, do a podcast. Like I get worried that something's happening. I might just wear these clothes all week. Like, who needs a shower?
It's a shower.
Yeah, but sometimes you got to go. You got to make some coffee, and things happen. Things happen quickly. Like I was in the middle of putting mayonnaise on the bread, and Kentucky's got a JUCO commitment. What? Huh?
You two guys will be proud of how much coffee I've had today. In fact, I might even need to go to the hospital if I put any more in this body. It's been going wild the last couple hours with speculation. Just so everyone knows, I have been out of touch since noon. Matt and I finished KSR and immediately started Cover Zero, and I drove straight home, and here I am talking to you all. But I saw in our group text this JUCO commitment. Like, what is that? How do we have a commit before a coach? Does he know?
He loves Kentucky. Come on, man.
All right.
Front of the chair. Front of the jersey.
Honest truth. And I've said this since I committed. I was coming to Kentucky as my 5th visit. I was just coming here just to go. My parents was the only visit my parents didn't come to. I've said this since I've arrived in Lexington. If you get a kid to get to Lexington, there's something about the area, I promise. So there's something about it. I would say this. You can say that he's one kid that's not here for the coach.
Might be here for that's true. He did talk to Polacek, Luckett, and Eric Wolford said they would honor his commitment, and so I can't blame him for wanting to get a spot. Signing day is 2 days away, and you know what? I'm a little behind on my signing day prep, Luckett, I must admit.
Yeah, this Caleb Pyform spent freshman year at Missouri, JUCO, and Kansas last year.
Oh,
this Kentucky's his best offer. Like, I'm talking about like mid to low level G5s or the other schools in on him. And how this situation works, it's unique right now because signing day didn't used to be this close to kind of when coaching searches were going on. Even in December, it was mid-December. Now it's December 3rd, right? Yeah. Kentucky's in a search. The assistants on Kentucky staff are employed until they're told they're not employed anymore over there. So it still has to be a level of business as usual. And so, heck, for those Kentucky assistants, they need to secure jobs. So they're going to try to, for a lot of them, they're going to try to stay on staff. And so that they're adding a commit is not necessarily a surprise, but the timing is weird and unique. Yeah. And whenever the head coach, whoever Kentucky hires, is going to have to make some quick personnel decisions, both in staffing and in recruiting if it occurs before this early signing period starts.
I like this JUCO kid This JUCO kid's going to be like Travis Perry.
Wednesday, Van.
Is he going to get a shout out at the press conference like Travis Perry? Like, we have one piece. He's here. I got my guy. We're keeping him. Is he just trying to, be the first one in the locker room when the new coach gets here, like ready to go to work?
Who is the walk-on that was mentioned in LD Washington's statement? Remember that kid? It was like the Glasgow kid.
Uh-huh.
is like excited to get to work, and he named these receivers, and then one of them is like, "Who?" It was the Soldier Boy meme. Who?
And our guys just recruiting, like when not to do the basketball thing, but when Cal left, like Coach O just kept showing up to work. Like, well, I work here, so I'm just going to keep showing up.
Yeah.
Is the football staff, is Bafano at the office right now just banging out recruiting reports for Wednesday?
I mean, they kind of have to, right?
What a weird time.
Yeah, it's a very weird time. And I'll just get to the biggest thing you missed, Drew, over the last 3 hours or so. Because this was the part of the coaching search that I missed, that we got some of in Pope's was more of the flight tracker, right? Because you had Scott Drew and his family coming in, and there were all of those whispers. This is a fun wrinkle that probably should have done a better job of warning people, but it's Will Stein and Brian Hartline. They were the two big names initially that we put out there that I think everybody knew would be on the short list. From national reporters to local reporters, like those are two guys to watch. There's going to be other names, obviously. I think Dan Mullen and Jared Parker have been thrown in the mix as well. But those are the big ones everybody's talking about. And I knew the Louisville rumor mill was going to get going at some point, and everybody was going to have a friend who knew Will Stein's mom or Will Stein's aunt that was going to say that it's a done deal. He's like, I could feel it in my bones, and we got there quickly. I would just warn people about taking information like that to the bank. It's noteworthy that there's some people in Louisville who think that their kid or their cousin or their aunt might be coming home soon, but we could be getting some cards placed well before the horse in this situation.
It's part of the chaos of the coaching search, though, right? Isn't this what
Yeah.
we don't get to do this very often.
Yeah.
And it is hard to run stuff through filters. Like you'll get some outrageous texts.
Well,
I mean, the flight tracking is a blast.
Mm-hmm.
On the back end, it's hard to get people to confirm information.
Yeah.
Right. So you can get something good. A lot of times we hear good stuff. It's hard to get it confirmed. So, Nick, with all of this stuff, you got to know what's bullshit and what isn't. If your bullshit meter is good, you got a good feel here. Very early in the process, right?
Very, very.
We fired Stoops last night.
Yes.
We haven't been. It's been maybe 12 to 16 hours where they've been, all right, shifted to.
Yeah.
Really. And if you believe that Barnhart walked in that Louisville game not even thinking it was a possibility that they could move on, they were really bad, right?
Yeah.
So that's me. I believe that.
Right.
I'm that person.
You've got to vet candidates, but like Kentucky also, they have to do their due diligence, but they also have to be like, okay, we got to be assertive and decisive here because you can't wait too long. Like you got to make a decision. And so they're vetting candidates and then they're going to make it. I bet here soon they're going to decide, but it's a little early to, for that to have happened.
I would say they always had candidates though. You don't go in blind because you don't know if your coach is going to leave and go to Texas A&M. So I wholeheartedly think that even though you might not want to fire the guy before the game, I think you're going to fire a guy. You still have your board of list of guys in case something goes awry with Stoops. Maybe want to go to Cal Poly. You just don't know. So I think he had a list. Now they're going through that list. And I'm not going to say that they haven't. Did they potentially get some fillers out weeks ago? You never know.
We've been under the impression there was a lot of smoke that Stein and UK had been in touch. I don't know, October. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So like they're not unfamiliar with one another.
That's earlier.
But here's a job offer 12 hours later does feel,
Well, you have to remember that at a time it was looking like there was no doubt. And then stuff changed in November for Kentucky. Yeah. Both ways. Like we rolled the whole arc there, boys. We went from the low to down and then back down again. And we did it all in a month.
Also, around the time when it was so bad, Rich Brooks was in Lexington making his rounds, a Will Stein guy. There could have been hey, I'm looking at your product right now. If you need somebody, I have a recommendation in Oregon. We've seen all the photos of those two together. We know they're close. And was it the Texas game, I believe, when Rich Brooks was here, or a Tennessee game? One of those two. Before Texas. They won a game, Rich Brooks was here probably talking to Mitch Barnhart about something, and I could see that coming up. I don't know anything, but I mean, it's clear that Brooks likes Will Stein.
Which would be funny. Barnhart's made 4 hires. The only one where Rich Brooks didn't tell him who to hire would have been Mark Stoops. Right? When he got hired, Barnhart used him as like a reference, and he was like, well, hire me, guy. What are you doing here? Just hire me. I'll do it. And then Joker, obviously, and then now Will Stein. He could just, what are we doing? And like, Rich Brooks should start a search firm.
I would like to think, too, that a lot of that reasoning was after Rich Brooks had enjoyed a cocktail or two. He's a guy, whenever he's in Lexington, I want to interview him, but I also don't want to. Like, I just want to hang out with Rich Brooks when he's in town, because I'm sure the yarns are spinning and the bourbon is flowing and my man is having a great time.
I went to Joker Phillips's first, that bourbon and cigar event they do. Stoops kept it going. Rich Brooks did it. It was Joker's first, but Rich Brooks was there and he got up and spoke. And I can't tell you what he said because I'm not even sure he knows what he said. My man was having a great time, but I say that lovingly. It was awesome. Rich Brooks enjoying retirement, likes our good Kentucky culture and our bourbon.
He's keeping spirits bright. The other big candidate too that people are discussing, Brian Hartline, where we know that last name well. Mike Hartline was on the staff this year. He was the last Kentucky quarterback to throw for 3,000 passing yards in a season all the way back in 2010. His brother Brian, Ohio State receiver, been an Ohio State coach for a very long time. He's their play caller this year. They've been kind of grooming him to be Ryan Day's successor, but Ryan Day, he just keeps winning. So I don't think he's going to be succeeding anybody anytime soon. We shared that, hey, if that job offer gets offered, then he'd be willing to take it. So when we're trying to sift through all the what's real and what's not, it does feel like they have 2 quality candidates at the top, and maybe some weird stuff would have to happen for them to get past those 2. I'm not willing to take that to the bank because weird stuff does happen in these coaching searches, right? But it does feel like I would say people love percentage chance game. 75% chance is one of those 2.
I would say higher. I would be surprised if one of those 2 isn't the next head coach. The most interesting thing to me, Nick, watching them is just the playoff timeline with both of these guys.
Yep.
Semifinals are January 8th and January 9th, I believe, are the 2 dates. Portal opens on January 3rd.
I do wonder, too, how much – so Saban told Lane to kick rocks when he got the job at FAU and scram. They told Lane to kick rocks this time and said, scram, go to LSU. Summerall's coaching Tulane. They're going to let him coach Tulane in Florida at the same time. So I think it's kind of a case-by-case basis. I think the other noteworthy part, too, is Ohio State plays this week and Oregon does not.
Yeah, yes, that matters. Yeah.
So conference championship game. This is big plane tracking. Van, there's a private plane from Lexington, Louisiana. Are they here to pick you up? Are you getting an interview with Mitch?
I can't I can't confirm or deny those sentiments. I mean, my agent is in contact with others around the country.
Hey, big X's and O's guy, knows ball, former Cat. See, if you need, we can dress it up for you, Van House.
I don't want to. Let me be the GM. I don't want to be the head coach. I don't want to get hired to get fired. Let me be the GM. You know what? Let me be the assistant GM. I want to be the guy behind the curtains.
You want me to buy season tickets? Give Van either the GM spot, certainly the head coach spot, and I'm buying season tickets.
No, I don't want. No, I don't have the ego to be a head coach.
somebody asked us once if we could be on the staff. It was like, me and Luckett, if you could be on the staff, what would you be? I'd be like, not a coach. Like, that is not a job. Like, college football coach, that job sucks. Recruiting, like dealing with kids, coach, like, nope, not for me. So I'm withdrawing my name from the candidacy for the Kentucky head football coaching position.
Yeah. I got my eyes on AD. That's what I'm applying for.
Drew wants one of those $800,000 to slide off jobs.
No, I don't want that. That's part of the problem. I'll do it for the right amount.
I will say the general manager talk of there being one. Luckett's, I think Luckett, your theory that Mike Florio saying Chip Kelly to Kentucky was Mike Florio mishearing somebody saying Champ Kelly to Kentucky.
I don't want to give him that much credit. I think he just
wow.
I think he got on a KS board and just said, "I'm going to roll with this." If any bites,
but Champ Kelly would make a lot of sense.
Dude, that would
the fact that was on NBCSports.com is sad.
If we can pull Champ from the NFL, dude, that hire is bigger than the head coach hire.
Yeah,
because he actually have true experience of being as close to a GM as possible, dude. And I know he will come back. Champ will come back, dude. He's
got a lot of friends over there.
Yes, dude, that is huge. See, now that was shocking. That was absolutely shocking. If they can get Champ Kelly, dude, that's a win upon win. That might be. That'd be Mitch's best hire ever.
Oh, wow.
The three of us laid the groundwork in Austin. We were recruiting him. We were like, hey, Champ, not great around here. Why don't you come on back? And they lost to Texas the next day. But it was part of our fun night.
Nick, I have to say, we would have to do a victory lap because we've been talking about Champ. I've been talking about Champ Kelly being this program's GM for a while now. So it's good to hear. So at least someone's listened to us. Maybe not falling on totally deaf ears. Well, but I haven't heard.
Yeah. I haven't either.
It's very much
we have
at this point. But
we are tapping sources though.
Paper. Yeah.
Maybe
we're the source.
Well, we're the source, and we're trying. LeVar Ball, just speak it into existence, okay?
Speak it into existence.
Yeah, because I can't remember if he just went, like if he was around when they lost or won the Super Bowls, but he was with the Bears when they went to the Super Bowl. He was with the Broncos when they went to the Super Bowl. I don't know if he won one when the Broncos were there or if he had already left. But he's been the interim GM. He was the interim GM with Vegas for 2 years. He's the interim GM with the Dolphins right now. And he just can't get that tag removed. And so if you're going to pay him well to go be the main shot caller in Kentucky, I think it's plausible. And the other part of this too, particularly with Brian Hartline from a organizational flowchart standpoint, like I don't think we need the Dwight Schrute, like, tree or whatever that he has, like, but Kentucky needs more structure within his organization. A Champ Kelly would know how to run a successful organization, and Mike Hartline in particular. They're pretty buttoned up over at Ohio State.
Yeah, I'm not into coaches because I don't know who's. I've heard of Brian Hartline. I know those receivers. He had some litany.
Pretty good.
He has a great receipt of wide receivers he has coached. But I don't know anything about him being head coach. Will Stein the same way. But whomever comes here, if they have a GM like that, man, I think it alleviates some of the issues that Stoops had with having to do too much. If you have a guy of that caliber who has done it on the highest level, dude, that makes it so much easier for a young head coach to come in and thrive.
I do think there's a fun connective tissue between these two. Will Stein and Brian Hartline both coached Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson was is it Lake Travis where Will Stein was OC? Yeah. So Wilson played there. Will Stein coached him, and then he was recruited by Brian Hartline to go to Ohio State. So I think that's a fun connective tissue there. I just would like to add the other bit of background from a recruiting standpoint. Heartline obviously knows this area a little bit better from a coaches, that sort of deal, just from a recruiting standpoint, because he's been here longer. Stein started as a QC with Charlie Strong, or I guess that was Strong that he was a QC for, and then he went with Strong to Texas for a couple of years. He became the play caller at Lake Travis, and that's when Jeff Traylor hired him at UTSA, and he really ascended quickly after joining Traylor's staff at UTSA. So that's kind of a lot of Texas experience, and then the last 3 years calling plays at Oregon, and the factoid that Luckett's dropped it. The quick one, 3 top 10 offenses, 3 different quarterbacks at Oregon in 3 years. It's pretty good. Pretty good. I love that. My favorite part too, Luckett, in all of this is people speculating that he would get Sungapalatelli, JKS, from Cal to come with him.
Yeah, that's going to come up. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Cal quarterback that lit up Louisville, lefty, a lot of fun, played as a true freshman at Cal. He actually went to Oregon during the spring, realized he wasn't going to be the starter for Dante Moore, and was like, all right, I'm just going to go to Cal and play. And they won 6 or 7 this year.
They watched 7-5.
Yeah.
4-4 in the league.
Yeah. The old Nick Rolovich. You want to talk about a weird experience Saturday night watching that game come to an end after that weird Louisville performance, and you're just like, man, I'm gonna be on Stoops watch. Here's Nick Rolovich just doing his thing. Cal beating SMU. But I wanted to mention the JKS stuff because there was a Football Scoop article that also came out with Cutter Boley saying he's keeping his options open. So, take that for what you will. I think that's what Cutter kind of has to say right now. Look it.
Yeah, I think it's a process that we're going to go through, and Cutter has agent. They're going to negotiate, and that's kind of, to me, that's where that's at.
Yeah, so something to consider. The other part, Matt Ponatoski, he was recruited by Will Stein at Oregon. He's not signing now because he's a baseball player. He's like, I'm not going to be there in February, so I'll just wait. Like, it's no sweat off me. I can wait to see the quarterback. But he did have a pretty juicy Stein quote, which I don't have in front of me. So yeah, that's a lot of coaching carousel things. Let's reset my brain. It's spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Brunt Workwear, get you some boots to go whip these cats into shape. Get you some Brunt Workwear boots. My feet were very warm on a very cold day when I was rocking my Brunt boots. I've got the Marin. Others have the Omen. Your brother he's more of an Omen guy. I think he was rocking those at the tailgate like it. A lot of folks have converted to Brunt Workwear, and right before Christmas, perfect time to do it. You've been waiting to treat yourself. Treat yourself to the best workwear out there. They don't just have comfortable boots that are durable. They've also got high performance gear that's built for tough jobs, from heavy duty work pants to weather resistant jackets. Brunt designs durable and reliable workwear for whatever the occasion may be. So go ahead, visit bruntworkwear.com/KSR, or just use the code KSR at checkout. You're going to get $10 off your purchase at bruntworkwear.com. Shout out Brunt. Shout out Brunt Workwear. Great boots, great clothes, great everything. Man, you got some great stuff to say. I'm tired of talking. How crazy was your state yesterday? What the hell was going on?
But my state, look, this is what's great about this state. Football reigns key. And now I'm gonna just say, look, what was crazy is the coaching staff that I coach with, they have been saying they wanted Lane Kiffin dude since it's been a while, even before Brian Kelly's even on the hot seat. So it's gonna be a good high school football season this year because all the coaches gonna be happy that they got the coach they wanted. Money talks, man. And when you have boosters that are willing to pony up $50+ million to get Brian Kelly out of there, dude, this little 12, 13, whatever $1 million they're gonna pay Lane is a drop in the bucket. I just know I've heard that they are. I don't know if these numbers are true, but I heard that they are going to give Lane close to $30 million if he wanted to build a roster, which is crazy. Dude, $30 million. That's more than an NFL roster.
It's also setting up to be, if they don't win the national title next year.
Oh, which Lane has never been to the playoff. I mean, he's good.
Well, yeah, you're
like,
right.
I'm not trying to dismiss it. I think we would all say we would like Lane Kiffin to be our coach. He's good. He's fun. But he ain't won anything.
Yeah.
Look,
there's levels. There's
this.
levels too.
Yeah.
LSU reigns king here. There is no other program that reigns here. He's going to get whomever he wants prior to NIL. Now he's got NIL. He's going to definitely get all those guys used to go to Alabama. All those guys used to go to Georgia. That 1, 2, 3 players. Those guys are probably not leaving the state anymore. You got a skill position guru in Baton Rouge for the first time as a head coach ever in recent history. Joe Brady was the closest one. He was an OC. Now you got the guy who's calling the shots. It's going to make a difference. I'm not sure next year's going to be that year unless he brings Chambliss in, which he probably is. Can Chambliss play another year? Does he have another year?
Yes, he's got another year.
Oh, so you're going to bring Chambliss and Simmons. He might be able to win next year. You're right. I don't think next year's year. I think the year after will be. But if he can bring some of those guys from Ole Miss with him, and he keeps the DC here, keeps Blake here, dude.
Yeah,
it's a chance.
He has to actually survive that trip to Oxford next year. I mean, literally stay alive when he goes back. I love that LSU at Ole Miss is on next year's schedule. I'm already looking forward to that. I typically would watch that if it were on, but I don't look forward to Ole Miss LSU games. That is going to be must-see TV. The vitriol in their middle fingers at the airport yesterday, that is pure hatred, and he has to walk back into that place next year. So I worry he might not live to see the playoffs when he gets back to Oxford next season.
They have said that they are going to keep Baker. They also said they were going to pay Kiffin his performance bonuses if they win playoff games or win the national championship. LSU is going to pay him if Ole Miss wins. That's how deep those pockets are. But the hate is going to run deep. My favorite part of all of this that kind of got glossed over was OM Spirit Bend, which I don't know how many people were watching it before Kiffin brought it up, but he shared the line, "You can't turn a hoe into a housewife." And I mean, Kiffin stopped what he was doing and turned around to like get in that guy's face about that line. And then they proceeded to like go back and forth in the press conference. And Kiffin got very, very triggered about that. And ultimately, I think OM Spirit Ben, I think he was vindicated. I think he was right.
And the double down in the press conference was a nice touch.
Yeah.
It was nuts. And you like to just hear that guy be like, the way he said, Memphis, Tennessee, like the way he's like, I can't say Memphis, Tennessee and try to sound like I'm Project Pat. Like it just doesn't work. That did not work. That was, oh man, that was about as funny as seeing Marty Smith's report. Poor Marty Smith on Saturday night. My man, that was a long day. When I think I got it rough, I just think, well, at least I wasn't Marty Smith on Saturday.
I was confused by that. You know how we're not even like allowed to do anything in the UK facilities. That's a different story. But did he just stand in front of that Ole Miss logo like all day? Did he go home, or was he just standing in front of that entrance to their building all day?
I'd like to imagine.
He was like the door with Cal, except he was a real person that had to go stand by the door.
He was actually there.
I like to imagine they pulled up a porta potty and like just so he didn't have to leave.
He was just peeing on the floor.
DoorDash some food.
I also loved how they put Lane's clothes out. I mean, that was just all the way around was a great thing to follow, having not been invested on either side.
I look at that Lane thing. That's a bad sign to me if I'm LSU, that he would act like that. I media. LSU, whenever he loses or they don't score 30 points, he is going to get criticized. Their media group is not going to – at Ole Miss, he was a king. They're not going to back – like, if he loses to Bama, like, they're coming at him with pitchforks. What did the TV guys say to Brian Kelly?
Oh, yeah, about the
after
running.
they beat Florida?
Yeah.
That's what it is. And so, like – because there's this thing like the new Lane Kiffin, the old Lane Kiffin. That was like we saw the old Lane Kiffin this weekend. That was the Lane Kiffin at USC that didn't handle stuff well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like to me, that was just I don't think that was a great look for Lane, and I don't think he handled that very well. And if you're projecting him into a bigger job where you're going to be in more of a media spotlight, where you're going to get criticism is going to be more something you have to deal with. I don't know if that necessarily was the best look for him. Maybe the emotions got the best of him in a weird kind of situation, but
Lane has
that was my
here.
thought.
He was going through it.
Years here. I promise you. The people here are so excited. Lane has 2 years here. He can do almost whatever he wants right now. This is the best hire. Dude, I don't think people understand. Nick Saban wasn't a great hire here. It wasn't like he had the cachet that Lane does.
Most lauded hire, yeah.
Yeah, this supplants any hire. Probably goes back to Mike Archer, maybe. Like, this is a big deal for us here. Fans are going crazy, man. I think his honeymoon is going to last longer with the media than I think a normal coach like Brian. Like Brian Kelly did some things here when he got here that rubbed people the wrong way. Lane did things that rubbed people the wrong way while he was at Ole Miss. As long as he doesn't do that while the coach at LSU, man, the people here are going to love him.
How's your hot yoga situation? Y'all got good hot yoga studios?
Oh, yes. What is called the hot spot? I can see the logo. Yes, man. We got hot yoga here.
Okay.
For sure. I'm surprised they haven't built one in the coach's facility already.
Oh, man. Coaching searches, they're fun. They're fun. I will say the thing that's nice about this one, and part of the reason why I was so upset that the A&M thing didn't work out for Stoops, it wasn't just because you had Summerall lined up, but also because you could have left on a high. I mean, Stoops looked cooked when I saw him after that loss to South Carolina. Like, he was disheveled. Just like, how did we lose to that team? They stink. We're better than them. What the hell? For him and Vince to help rally the troops with Ray Davis and co. to beat a top 10 Louisville team, like, that was the perfect way. That was the perfect walk-off moment. And you had the revolt with Ross Bjork and the Board of Regents at A&M, and it didn't get done. And so it ended up having an ugly way out in the form of wins and losses. But I will say that despite the kind of poking and prodding, the motivated, some of the wild, like that, it hasn't been all great for Stoops. But he was willing to negotiate a settlement to not go down swinging. He's not pulling a Brian Kelly. He's not pulling a Lane Kiffin with his middle fingers up. It's going to be kind of a cordial ending. And like it just personally, you were there for those press conferences. We got a good 2 or 3 weeks of like seeing Mark Stoops kind of do his Mark Stoops thing one more time. It wasn't peak Mark Stoops, but that was a fun, that was a nice little run they had there at the end that made you remember why you fell in love with the guy in the first place.
Yes. Yeah. But I think we rolled the whole arc here.
It was eventful.
So, you got to see the good. You got to see, he's still, maybe he's lost some MPH off the fastball, but he can still rear back and throw it. But you also see why, why there was the concerns moving forward. And so for everyone involved, I think it was best that they found a way to just kind of separate. And you never want to end a season like that, but maybe it was the best thing for everybody. Instead of going 6 instead of saying, you lose to Vandy like you did, but say you go +3 in the turnover column. Say like Miller Moss throws a pick first possession, or you recover that fumble, and the game goes different, and you end up winning the game. And you go 6-6. I think the same problems would have popped up next year. So I think long term, it was just probably best that everyone got to this separation point. Now you're seeing, Nick, I think the fan base give Stoops his flowers.
Yes.
Where I think if you prolong this, it could have gotten real ugly.
It was going to be bad. Really bad. I'm
interested to see what he does next. Will he even leave Lexington? I mean, if he doesn't get
my take is he never coaches again.
I'm kind of with you.
He might go do some consulting or some analyst type stuff, but he's got business ventures, and I think he's going to enjoy having a lot of money and being retired. And he's going to challenge Hugh Freeze in the golf charting potentially.
Part of me thinks we're just going to get used to seeing Mark Stoops around Lexington. Like, love him or hate him, I know some people are still just sour on how it ended. There's a world where he's just around town. I mean, he's got a lot of friends here. I know a lot of them. I know his family's out west, but he's got one boy in college. Probably the other's not too far away. I mean, he doesn't, as he said recently, this has been his home lately.
Right.
So it wouldn't shock me if he's just around.
I don't think he wants to do the group of 5 head coach thing.
No. And he might do the Kirby analyst thing. But
I could see the analyst thing, but I don't think necessarily he wants to be taking orders from someone either in working like that. So I think in his perfect world, he would have found another job somewhere and kept being a head coach at a power conference school. But I don't think that ever really developed for him. And I think he'll just look at his brother too. I mean, his brother retired, hasn't gotten that itch once, right?
Well, just enough to scratch in the XFL or whatever.
Yeah, Dallas Renegades.
But that might be what he does. Okay, that might be what he does. Just go be him and Bob. Just go. He'd be the DC for Bob with the and they can come up to Louisville and we can have a little rivalry here.
He's also got if you got a house in Florida, like that's the first place I'm going if I'm Mark Stoops. I'm getting down to that beach house. I'm hanging out for a while. Yeah. I mean, it's cold up here. It's supposed to like sleet and ice up here, Van. I know your ass ain't want to be up here right now.
Oh, hell no. Is it close to Tampa? Because USF is looking for a coach.
It's group of 5 though. You got the money to buy players?
Oh, I think USF has a little bit more than what you think.
Huh? Could be something. And then with 30A. Isn't 30A in like by Tampa? I don't know where 30A is.
30A is over. It's like up by Panama City and Destin and all that.
Oh, so it's Panhandle. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
He's more way South Florida.
Okay. Interesting.
He's got a lot of money to sit down and take his time to contemplate on his next move.
Yeah.
Which it is the reason why you coach. Because people don't understand all the stuff you got to deal with as a head coach beyond what you think. I wouldn't wish my worst enemy to be a head coach. It is a tough job, man. And he has earned that 9, whatever, how much money he saved up. Well, he does have a divorce and child support and all that stuff. I don't know how much that factors in, but he earned his salary. I would say that.
When Van becomes GM of Kentucky, sometimes we just have a rotating seat over here. Could this be a Mark Stoops spot on the KSR Football Podcast when Van is over at UK taking us to playoffs year after year? Maybe Stoops can just Collinsworth right in and be a regular with us in retirement.
I like that. Yes.
I'm not firing you, Van, by the way. You would have to leave us. But, you're going to take UK to the next level soon. We heard it earlier.
When you get like the day will come when it's Mark Stoops story time, and it would be fun to have him a part of it because we've been around. Like, I think it was just me, you, and maybe Peak Drew at the golf scramble.
Mm-hmm.
It was like me, Drew, Vince, Stoops, Benny. Was Lynn there too?
Lynn.
Yeah. maybe Fortner. Like all these guys were just sitting around and just like busting each other's chops. And that was some fun storytelling time. And Mark Stoops, his language is a little bit more colorful when he's not in front of a microphone. So it's fun to get the Youngstown out of him,
It's a fun guy. And if you want to get into Mark Stoops stories, I know we want to hear about his time at Kentucky, but I want that man in front of a microphone talking about when he was at the U, because I've heard a few of them secondhand. I mean, we know what the U was when it was the U, and Mark Stoops was right in the middle of it. And I would just love a Mark Stoops tell all about that, good and bad. There's plenty from that I would like to unpack too.
And that's young Mark Stoops with some hair on his head too. So I know that's Mark Stoops there, man. Jeez.
We mentioned his worst coaching job. Van, what was his best coaching job?
Best coaching job to me of the whole staff was 2019.
Yeah.
When you go from Terry Wilson to Sawyer Smith to Lynn Bowden, I don't think people understand. That's 3 different offenses. That's 3 different schemes. That's 3 different, trying to get those guys to buy into quarterback centric, coming from Terry and coming from Sawyer, man. That to me, off the top of my head, was probably his best coaching year, or when he lost Drew Barker. And we went to Steven Johnson. That changed the whole temperature, the whole direction of the program of becoming a big blue wall. Either one of those 2 is the ones I can just think right off the top of my head.
2016 too. He had to take over the reins of the defense halfway through the year. They were struggling, so he had to add that factor in it. But they were pretty explosive. 19 really is a testimony to is as much as Stoops. His faults were in his stubbornness sometimes. He was willing to try different things. Like, you got to give him credit for it. And sometimes they worked. They never worked for very long. The Liam Cohen thing, like that, worked for a year, and then you try Rich. That doesn't work, but then you bring him back, and, that becomes kind of a mess. But you did the Bowden thing for a year. That worked well. I think the part, though, that you kind of mentioned earlier, though, his best teams just stayed in the fight. That Missouri game in 2018, they're dead to rights. They're trying all these different quarterbacks. I mean, for crying out loud, they put Danny Clark in the game. It was a disaster. But they stayed in the fight. The defense forced 10 straight 3-and-outs. Lynn Bowden gets a punt return touchdown, and they got 2 minutes to go down and get a touchdown scoring drive to win the game. And by God, they did it, and it set up an SEC East championship game. There was a level of resiliency that he added to the program that it desperately needed. And I think the thing that I got a little worried about in recent years, but I think the best legacy that Stoops will leave is just that he left it not only in a better place, but in a place that in this new NIL era, we can have solid footing in. And I say we because I don't only mean the program, I mean the fan base. Hal Mummy convinced us that we had to be basketball on turf to win football games. Mark Stoops said, no. Like, we can kick your ass in the trenches. We can play defense. And we can go toe-to-toe with Alabamas of the world and the Auburns and the Floridas and the Georgias. We don't have to gimmick you to win. We can punch you in the mouth to win. And I think fans thought that was impossible for a very long time, especially fans kind of my generation. And so for him to bring that hard-nosed mentality here, it was a lot of fun. It worked for a long time. But now it's time to move forward, onward and upward.
I thought Jacob Tammy's tweet said it the best. Stoops brought a toughness and a competitiveness and a belief when the program really needed it. And it was an incremental climb, but we've reached the point where the game has changed and what they were doing was not working. Yeah, Nick, to your point, I think the big takeaway from the Mummy era should be, that team had one of the best play callers of all time and a first-round pick at quarterback. And a scheme advantage because teams aren't even playing nickel yet.
Right. Right.
So,
That's a good point.
yeah, mesh was working against those big 240-pound Sam linebackers, wasn't it, Van?
With those big shoulder pads.
Funny how open that was. The swing routes were, oh my gosh, this is easy. We can get the ball out real quick.
Anthony White had 1,000 yards after catch just running around people.
So that did warp people's brains. I think the takeaway has been the crown mummy on that. I've given my take. I think Leach was the master, and then Tim was awesome, and then Jared was awesome. But it didn't work as well when Leach wasn't there. There's a reason for that. Like go see his career. He was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Brooks and Stoops should have proved to you that you don't need a gimmick, that you can play straight up football and still win. If you don't need a scheme advantage necessarily, it helps if you have one. Like it'll help you a lot, but you don't need it. If you are evaluating, developing, if you're doing those two things well, which is what I think Brooks and Stoops did, then that proved to people, like if you were doing those two things well, you can win here. Now they went about it a little bit differently. Stoops, I think, recruited at a higher caliber, and he proved that you could recruit here. But develop, have a plan, and recruit, and get your guys in here and stick with that plan. You can win here.
I like how Stoops just never surrendered to this being Kentucky football. I don't remember the exact player, but we played Alabama 2016-ish, 2015-ish. Might have been like boom. Dude was like, oh my God, I'm in pain from playing Kentucky football. And I just had never heard anyone say that. And I'm like, wait a minute. We're like hitting Alabama in the mouth. Sure didn't lead to win that game. It's Alabama. They probably had 200 draft picks. But just hearing a future NFL player talk about how much pain he's in after playing a Kentucky football team was a concept I didn't even know we could grasp. Like it was like you are saying, it always had to be flashy or gimmicky. Stoops is like, no, I don't care. We're lining up and hit people. And that was something I never thought was possible around here. And then it eventually turned into wins in time.
It was fun. It was fun while it lasted. But now it's on to the next thing. So I guess that's how we finish. We do a little predicting today. It's a little helter-skelter because it's weird. We do these weekly, and you just a lot has changed in what feels like the last 3 hours. So things are happening quickly. But before we go, I want to echo the sentiment that Luckett shared in one of these YouTubes we did about, hey, be pretty important to get somebody who can develop a quarterback, because that's one thing Stoops didn't do in 13 years. Didn't do it at all. You had flashy moments, particularly with Will Levis for a year, Cutter certainly in the last year. But if you want to succeed in this sport, you got to have somebody that's pretty damn good at throwing the football. So get you a coach who can develop a quarterback. With that said, if we're doing I don't know if we're going to do a show this time next week, but let's say 1 week from today. Van, who's going to be the Kentucky football coach? When are we going to find out?
You're going to start with me. I was going to pony up one of you guys.
Yeah, you're just going to hit your wagon?
I'll go first.
You know what? I'm going to go with this. Since Mike Hartline is already here, wouldn't it be a great story to have Brian Hartline come and keep his brother as maybe Mike becomes the OC during the week and Brian calls the plays on Saturday? I'm going to go with Brian Hartline.
I just hope we don't have the Auburn situation where it's a different play caller for every down. Yeah. It didn't work out too well for them. What are you thinking, Drew?
I just feel like Mike Florio is just sitting there under the radar with his pick. So I'm going to go.
Don't get me started.
I'm going to go. It could be Chip Kelly. It could be Champ Kelly. Who is the Ole Miss quarterback? Was it a Chris Kelly?
Swag Kelly.
Chad Kelly.
Chad Kelly.
Yeah.
Chad Kelly. Could be Chad Kelly. Florio's just hearing all kinds of Kellys everywhere. So I'm going to say
Kelly
it's going to
Stafford.
be Kelly. Kelly Kraft will be the head coach tomorrow. No, I'm kidding. I'm going to go Stein. I don't believe it's done like a lot of people are speculating, although I haven't had any conversation since I've been talking to you all. But I will guess Stein, but I don't think it's over yet.
Look, whenever noise gets so loud for one candidate, then I don't think it's that candidate.
Yeah, but your fade principle has not been good here lately.
It's no. The fade has actually been perfect. It's going exactly according to plan, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I was laughing at you last night because you were telling Matt, "Oh yeah, I do this and this." I was like, "Yeah, this is coming from a guy who bets the wrong team on purpose so he can come back and bet the other team, and then he doesn't win any money. He just gets everything back."
You just got to trust the process. Okay,
some type of weird psycho analysis going on here. I don't know what is going on.
But just
or no ears, depending on the angle.
I don't think that this is typically the case, but a lot of times when you get the smoke from Football Scoop or something, there's like a leverage situation in play. I think this is just the guys from Louisville. People are getting excited, and they're telling everybody that's a done deal. I personally, I get a lot more excited for Brian Hartline just from the knowing what they think about him at Ohio State. I know that he will not get comparable talent at Kentucky right away. He might get some of them though, and that excites me. That I feel like there's a very high floor with him. I know there are uncertainties. I feel like there are fewer than what Will Stein brings to the table, and I think there's a very that winning culture there. It just oozes from him, and Mike might end up being pretty good too. I don't know that for certain. I would imagine. I would almost guarantee that he would be a part of the staff in some capacity.
Yes, he would.
So
Brian's the coach.
Yeah. So I'm going to say Brian Hartline, but generally think about the fade principle. I think we know before lunchtime on Wednesday, Luckett. That's my prediction.
We know before then. We'll find
out.
Can
I change my pick now? Can I change my pick? Since Nick went with me, I got to, since all the stuff you guys said, I need to go the other way. I need to go Will.
Okay. I think this is a close call. I think it's down to Hartline and Stein. I think they're both, you look at them, they're both offensive coordinators for powerhouse programs, but their strengths are different. Hartline, receiver coach, recruiting, organization, everything, being more of a CEO type head coach, where I think you're hiring Will Stein to come in and be, for lack of a better phrase, QB guru, play designer, play caller. I think for Kentucky, a huge part in all of this is they've got to get someone to develop quarterbacks. I think at the end of the day, Stein has a longer track record of that, knows the position, has really been groomed for this moment. And I think when push comes to shove, he's going to want this job. When you dig in on him, he's from a diehard Kentucky family. He went and played at Louisville, but they never stopped being Kentucky fans. This would mean, I think, a lot to them. And you add that in with the timeline, Ohio State going the Natty. I don't think Oregon's going to make the Natty. I think that factors in a little bit too. But I think Stein will be the guy, and I think that's who they'll hire.
Will we be rapidly reacting to that tomorrow night, Luckett, after Kentucky, North Carolina?
Maybe before.
Maybe before. Maybe before. I just keep forgetting that there's a basketball game tomorrow, and yeah.
I'm so tired.
I know.
We might have to do a watch along, me and you.
Yeah.
Where we take search questions and we watch the game.
I like that.
It'd be a beautiful process, Stephen Peak. We will get on there.
Oh, man.
We might even let Peak rage a time or two while he's in Rupp Arena doing whatever he does at basketball games. I'm not sure how he works at basketball games. I know he works at football games, but
oh man.
Listen, I'm a little worried about Stephen Peak's mental state tomorrow if we're not winning that basketball game. Mine too. I'm not just throwing Stephen under the bus, but not to change topics there. But Stephen might be very occupied with what's in front of him at Rupp Arena if it's not going well.
I just have not. The happiest I've been about Kentucky basketball was seeing that Charles Barkley is going to be calling a game. I was awesome. That's got to be fun, right? Like that's a good way that no matter what happens in that game, that'll be fun. We'll get Chuck and Dickie V. That'll be a good time. But man, a lot's going to happen between now and then. A lot's happened this season. for a 5-7 season, never a dull moment. Not one single dull moment. This whole entire freaking ride. And I think we all predicted 5-7 years. Did you say that we were going to beat Louisville?
Well, I said 5-7, but when I got to picking the Louisville game, I'm like, I can't have them at 5 and not get them over the hump. So my brain wanted 5, but I talked myself into them actually showing up for that game. Boy, did I whiff on that one.
Yeah, we were close, but no cigar.
Were we?
It's just one of those things in August when you say 5-6 going in the Louisville game, you don't realize how much goes into that. Like, it's just a number, and that's what is kind of crazy about this job is like a lot of the nuance gets taken out of it in college football when you just mention the numbers, right? But like, there's a lot of nuance, a lot of craziness to it. Apparently, there's a second interview with Stein. Like, there's a lot going on. There's a lot happening. We'll try to keep our heads screwed on tight. We're going to be on here. Make sure you're subscribed here. We got a Cyber Monday sale, too, with KSR Plus. 50% off an annual subscription. So, Coaching Carousel, it's spinning. We're going to keep you locked in with the latest. We're going to go get locked in with a little bit more. Time to pour some more coffee. Thanks for hanging out with us today on the KSR Football Podcast. Let's go find us a football coach.